in the quiet town of Franklin, Tennessee. They say there's a house no one dares enter after dark. An old house with an attic sealed shut, and in that attic sits a doll, a porcelain face cracked with time. Locals swear they hear it at night, soft weeping, the crying of a child. But there is no child, only the doll. Tonight I'll tell you what happened the summer I was brave enough to go inside. I was born in Franklin, Tennessee, a place where every corner whispers its history. Among the townsfolk, one story has always been told in hushed voices. The story of the Johnson house. It sits at the end of Carter's Creek Road, a crooked farmhouse with peeling white paint, a sagging porch, and windows that seem too dark even in daylight. They say its attic is sealed for a reason, and inside that attic sits a doll who cries when the moon is high. When I was a girl, children dared one another to run up to the Johnson house and touch its door. They whispered that the doll upstairs had belonged to little Clara Johnson, who died of fever in the 1870s. Clara's parents locked the doll away in the attic, but the crying never stopped. Even when the family left, even when the house stood empty, people walking past swore they heard sobbing through the broken shingles. One stormy evening, curiosity got the better of me. I was no more than 16, and I wanted proof. I slipped inside the house with a lantern and felt the air grow colder the higher I climbed. The attic door was nailed shut, but from behind it, I heard it, a soft, pitiful sob, the sound of a little girl crying for her mother. My lantern flickered, and I dropped it. The flame went out, and in the dark, I heard a knock 3 times. From the other side of that door, years later, as a grown woman, I returned. The townsfolk said the crying had gotten louder. With help, we pried the attic door open. Inside, under moonlight spilling through a broken roof beam, sat the doll, a porcelain face cracked, one glass eye missing. And from its mouth came the faintest sound like breath, and then it began to cry. Not like a toy, not mechanical, but like a real child, heartbroken and alone. It was then we understood. This was no toy. This was Clara herself, bound to porcelain, forever grieving. The Johnson family had sealed her away, hoping to contain the haunting, but a curse cannot be hidden. Neighbors claimed the doll's cries grew louder whenever tragedy struck the town. A fire, a drowning, a lost child, and always the sound of Clara in the attic, mourning more than just herself. I should have left it alone, but something drew me back. One final time, I climbed into the attic. I spoke aloud. Clara, what do you want? The crying stopped. For the first time, silence. Then the doll's head turned, slowly, and a child's whisper filled the air. Stay with me, forever. The attic door slammed shut behind me. I pounded and screamed until morning light broke through. When neighbors found me, the doll sat still, as though nothing had happened. But to this day, I swear I hear her at night. And I know she remembers my name. So if you ever pass through Franklin, Tennessee, and see that crooked farmhouse on Carter's Creek Road, listen closely. If you hear weeping from the attic, don't go inside, because the crying doll is still there, waiting. And if she calls your name, you may never come back out.